So the threat of cuts to Medicaid to fund President Trump's priorities loom large in communities around the country. That includes Kentucky, where the state depends on Medicaid funding to keep citizens covered and rural hospitals open. The state is already feeling the effects of the federal funding freeze, and Kentucky's governor, Andy Beshear, says a cut to Medicaid would be devastating. And the governor joins us now. Mr. Governor, thank you again for being with us this morning. Let's talk about these potential cuts. Republicans have been denying that Medicaid's involved, but if you do the math, there's no way to do it without Medicaid being front and center. So talk to us about what that would mean for the citizens of your state, Republicans and Democrats alike.
Well, thanks for having me on. These Medicaid cuts would be devastating, and they'd be devastating to the people we all love the most. The people we love the most in this world are our parents and our kids. 50% of Kentucky's kids get coverage through Medicaid. 70% of our long-term care costs for our seniors go through Medicaid. So what cuts would do would be to harm families that have children with complicated medical issues, harm the care that our seniors get in those important twilight years. And it would devastate rural health care. I mean, we thankfully have a strong group of rural hospitals throughout our state. And I can tell you, governing during the pandemic, they are the reason that so many people survived. But large cuts to Medicaid would close virtually all of them. And that would mean most of my people would have to drive 2+ hours just to see probably the same doctor who lost their job at a rural hospital and is now at an urban hospital. We should want our people to get healthier. We shouldn't gamble with the number of years that our people live, and cuts to Medicaid will harm all of America.
Well, and that's what I don't understand, Governor. These cuts to Medicaid will harm rural America, red state America, more than urban America. If you look, you just talked about 50% of children in rural America get their health care from Medicaid. That's a higher percentage than children in metro areas. You can say the same thing for the general population under 65. It's the same thing. So I'm just curious, why is it that you have representatives from your own state and other states that seem to be voting against the best interest of their voters in those states? Because like you said, the tragedy is they can't, they're not in New York or L.A. They can't travel a short distance to go to a doctor. Sometimes when you shut down these hospitals in Kentucky or upstate New York or in Wisconsin or Michigan or central Pennsylvania, you're making people go 2 hours just to get primary care.
Yeah, when you look at our federal delegation and so many others, it seems like people care more about being a good member of the National Republican Party than a good representative or senator from the Commonwealth of Kentucky or anywhere else. That's when I took this job, I didn't take an oath to be the best Democratic governor I could be. I took an oath to be the best governor for my people that I could be. And this policy is going to harm so many. When I think about the things that matter most to the American people, it's going to impact all of them. They care about their job and whether they make enough to support their family. If they've got to go 2 hours and take off 2 days of their job just for a regular appointment, it's going to hurt. They care about that next doctor's appointment for themselves, their parents, or their kids. It's not just getting themselves to an appointment, but the pediatric appointments, the seniors. They care about safety in their community. Well, if your ambulance drive to a level 1 trauma center is an hour plus, then not as many people are going to make it. This hits Americans where we want security the most, and it's mean. And it's cruel. I mean, not having a doctor in a community is demeaning to that community. And it's the federal government saying we don't care. So my hope is that Congress will start doing its job, realize that it is a separate branch of government, and put the people first. Because let me tell you, severe cuts in Medicaid are going to make people speak out.
Adrienne.
Governor, great to see you this morning. Question on this. You are a blue state. You are a Democratic governor representing a red state. Tell me how you think Democrats can, really draw this contrast here. I mean, there's obviously a lot of people in your state who voted for Donald Trump. They're probably not even thinking about the politics when Medicaid is cut. but how can Democrats actually help draw this contrast, both, Democrats in your state and nationally, to really, I don't want to say we're trying to score political points here, but I think it is important that we actually draw a contrast as Democrats and make it very clear where we stand, and the fact that we want to keep these programs intact when you see somebody like Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans who are willing to do anything to basically save a buck here and there in government.
Well, what Democrats have to do is to stay focused. I think Donald Trump is currently president because the last group of movable voters were convinced that his opponent was distracted by culture war issues and he would do more to lower prices. Well, guess what? This president is obsessed with culture war issues, and he is gambling prices in the American economy in potential trade wars for non-economic means. So if Democrats will stay focused on those things that matter most to the American people, and that's your job and whether you make enough to support your family, that next doctor's appointment and how far you have to drive to get there, whether you feel safe in your community, the school that you're going to drop your kids off at, and the roads and bridges you travel every day, that common ground, common sense for the American people, for working people, is right there. I talk to people, and right now what they're saying is they feel like the pendulum was swinging too far to the left, and now it's swung really far to the right. And what they want to see is it to stop swinging, for us to be focused on areas that can improve everybody's life, and that is right there for the Democrats to take, to seize that ground. And the great part of it is it's not partisan. It's just something where we can help everybody and re-earn the faith and the trust of so many Americans.
Kentucky's Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, thank you very much for being on the show this morning. We really appreciate it.